Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Denise and I like to talk about astrology in real life. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Venus going retrograde today, May the 13th. So first, I'm going to give you some background information on retrograde and what it means. Then at the end of the video, I'm going to be going through each of the rising signs and talk about what this could possibly mean for you in your specific chart. So in terms of how often the planets go retrograde, Mercury goes retrograde 3 times a year. So it's not such a huge deal astrologically, but Venus only goes retrograde every 1.5 years, just about. So in this period, we are really meant to reassess our relationships and reassess our values and how we are valuing the different areas of our life that the planet is going to be touching. So Venus is going to be retrograde from May 13th, so today when I'm filming this video, until June 25th. So that's quite a stretch of time that we have to really reevaluate our relationships and see where we are being valued or undervalued. It just depends what house it is touching in your chart. This is especially important for you if you have planets at 21 to 5 degrees of Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, or Pisces, any of the mutable signs. So if you have them in Gemini, then this Venus retrograde is going to be conjunct to your natal planets. If you have them in Sagittarius, it's going to be opposing. So still, that's a really strong relationship. And if you have them in Virgo or Pisces, then it's going to be a square. So it is not as obvious, but it is still going to be pretty potent for you. Remember that for astrology predictions to come true, they have to be touching a personal planet. Other than that, the energy that you're going to feel with this Venus retrograde is going to be more subtle, and it's still going to affect you subtly, but you won't have any like huge, like profound things happen in terms of Venus going retrograde. So Venus in Gemini is normally very playful, very seductive, flirty energy to work with. But when you're talking about Venus going retrograde in Gemini, you just add an intellectual element to this Venus retrograde period. So while you are reevaluating relationships, while you are reevaluating your own values, your personal values, and the things that you appreciate, you are going to intellectualize those things, and this makes it even more mental, because the retrograde period is more internal than external anyway. But adding the intellectual sign of Gemini, which wants to, talk and communicate, you're going to have that communication go on within you instead of having that conversation with people. So if you're rising Aries, this Venus retrograde is going to land in your 3rd house. So this is the 3rd house of your immediate environment, your siblings, your neighbors, your cousins. So this is a great time to evaluate how you have been getting along with these people, how you've been relating to them in the past. Are there some friendships or some relationships that you could mend? This is a good time to mend those relationships because you are supposed to be reflecting on them and looking for places where you could place more value on relationships in that sphere of the 3rd house. So let's draw a card for Aries. If you're evaluating and reevaluating your relationships with your siblings, your neighbors, your cousins, people that are in your immediate environment, in your community, you're evaluating your friendship with people in the community, your relationships, then what would be a beneficial way of doing that, Aries? You got the 8 of Cups. In each loss, there is a gain, as in every gain, there is a loss. And with each ending comes a new beginning. I love this deck. It is the Art of Life Tarot. So this card talks about moving on from things that need to be moved on from. So if there is a relationship that you have been kind of working with that you feel right now would be a good time to let go, since you're going to have that period of evaluation and reevaluation, then maybe right now is a good time to let go of that. Cut ties with that annoying cousin, or cut ties with that evil brother that you have, rising Aries. Okay, so now let's move on to Taurus. For you, this is falling in your 2nd house of finances. And Taurus, we know that you love to value your things. You love to get your money's worth. You love to be practical. So this is really evaluating the things that you have and the resources that you have at your disposal. So what can you do, Taurus, to make the most of this period of reflection? You're kind of reflecting, Taurus, in a way to see what things you have that are more valuable than you give them credit for. So what things do you have that are like hidden treasures, Taurus? Right now is a time to be reflecting on that and thinking about that. So what card would be beneficial for rising Taurus? Let's see. You got the 7 of Pentacles. This says, with time and patience, the mulberry leaf becomes a silk gown. This is so good. Okay, so yeah, Taurus. So take this time to really evaluate the process that you're taking in order to gain that material security that you want, Taurus. So take this reflective period to see where it is that you could be expending more of your energy in order to gain that stability that you are looking for, Taurus. So now let's go on to Gemini. This is your first house, Gemini. So this is a house of self and your expression. You're really going to be evaluating really yourself, Gemini. Evaluating how your year is going, how your year has gone, and really evaluating how true you're being to yourself. Kind of a time to reflect on who you are, who you've become, and are you on the path that you want to be on, Gemini? So let's see if we have a useful card for Gemini. Let's see. So you got the Ace of Wands. Whatever you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. I love this deck. It's so pretty. So really, this is a card of action, Gemini Rising. And I know that you are prone to action, and Venus in retrograde is kind of putting the light on that first house of self-expression. So even though this is telling you to go for it, I just want to say that you should go for whatever it is that your heart is calling you to go for it. But make sure that you don't just go really quickly, Gemini. Make sure that you're actually reflecting on it before going for it. So maybe it is it's a blessed time to go for whatever it is that you are wanting to do, that project, that person, that new endeavor that you want to try. It might be a good time, the cards say it is, but taking into account the retrograde period, it does tell me that you do need to plan this and you do need to reflect on things that you've tried in the past and make sure that you're learning the lessons that you need to learn in order to make this project better than your previous ones have been. If you're a Cancer, then this Venus retrograde period is really having you reassess and reevaluate issues regarding your mental health and taking care of yourself. So what could be a beneficial card for you? You really want to be evaluating the things that you're doing to make yourself feel okay emotionally and psychologically, Cancer. So this retrograde period is about reevaluating the relationships that are really supporting you in order to have a healthy mental state. And let's see if I have a useful card for Rising Cancer. So this is strength. He knows not his own strength that hath not met. He knows not his own strength that hath not met adversity, by Francis Bacon. This is a really pretty card. So this is really talking about the things, the relationships that might have hurt you in the past and the people who might have hurt you in the past. Right now is not a time to kind of be leaning into that pain. It is a time to grow from those experiences and really take them as adding to your strength, Cancer, and not letting people that have hurt you in the past do it again. Right now, you might be tempted to reach out to people that you've had in your past before because, you know, Venus goes into retrograde and it could make us kind of go back to those love relationships that we've had and kind of it could also make us romanticize things from the past because we're no longer living them. So that distance makes us romanticize things and idealize them in a way that they really weren't. So make sure that you are taking this time to really see things clearly and to grow from those experiences in order to gain strength and not have the same thing happen to you in the future. So moving on to Leo. Leo, this is your 11th house of social groups and association. Let's see if we have a useful card for Leo with the 11th house. That card kind of wanted to pop out. So let's see if we have a useful card for Leo who has to reevaluate the relationships with his or her social circles. Let's see. We got the Hangman. When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be, for the 11th house. So in the 11th house, Leo, you might be reevaluating really your associations and not trying to jump into one group and jump to another one and just jump from here to there. Right now might be a time to really take that Venus retrograde very seriously and just take this time to yourself, to give yourself a pause during this time instead of wanting to connect with others. Right now, I mean, we're going through this social distancing thing, and I know Leo really likes to socialize. So right now, I guess it's okay to be on your own, Leo, because you might gain some very beneficial, enlightening experiences, and you might have some flashes of insight if you take this time to yourself and reevaluate your social circle and your associations. Okay, so moving on to Virgo, who has this Venus retrograde period going into his or her 10th house. So that is your public persona, your reputation. So you want to reevaluate the way that others see you right now. Is it maybe a time to think about your look even, or your brand, Virgo, if you want to call it that, your brand, help other people see you, the legacy that you're leaving behind. Right now is a time to reevaluate that and see where you can maybe spruce things up, where you can cut things out, in order to have, you know, the best image that you want to be portraying. So let me see if I have a useful card for Virgo. I noticed that I keep looking off screen, but this is just, I'm zoning out. Okay, so you got the Six of Swords. For everything you have missed in life, you have gained something else. So the Six of Swords is really about walking away from things that are no longer serving you. And in terms of your reputation, what are some things that you might have been associated with that don't necessarily still fit with your brand and that image that you want to portray? Are there things that kind of were a part of you in the past, but you kind of have outgrown these things, and right now would be a beneficial time to make that assessment and see, hey, like, what are the things that are no longer useful to me, that no longer really reflect who I want to be and who I want to be in the future and who I am now? It's okay to outgrow things and walk away from them, Virgo. So I guess right now would be a good time to work on that. So moving on to Libra. Libra, this is going to be happening in your 9th house, the 9th house of self-actualization and spirituality. So what aspects of your spirituality and your path of growth in this life could you be reassessing? Let's see if we have a useful card for Libra, who is going through this retrograde period in the 9th house of spirituality. Oh my God, I'm shuffling my hair, guys. So you got the Seven of Wands, and this says, life is not a matter of holding good cards, but of playing a poor hand well. Look at this. So the Seven of Wands really is a card of standing up for yourself, Libra. So right now is a good time for reevaluating the things that you believe in and why you believe in them. And this period of reflection could help you to actually stand up for those things in the future. I know that Libra really likes to be diplomatic, and really being diplomatic is a huge part of Libra because they don't like to upset other people and they don't like to put others off. They want everyone to feel welcome. But Libra, sometimes this can mean that you end up quieting your own beliefs in order to make room for others. But Libra, right now during this retrograde period, it would be a beneficial thing to do to reflect on your own beliefs and kind of build up your ability to stand up for them in a way that is still polite, that is still like Libra brand, that is still welcoming to others and open, but still allows you to stand up for what you truly believe in. So for Scorpio, this retrograde period is going to be happening in your 8th house of taboos, repressed fears, of trauma. So what are the things, what are the experiences that you're going to be reevaluating? What are the things that you're going to be reassessing in order to come out a better person or come out a more healed person at the end of this retrograde period? You know, it's 44 days. You got a lot of time to work on these things, Scorpio. So what is a beneficial card? What is something that could be useful for Scorpio on this period of reflection? You got the Wheel of Fortune. This says, to everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. The Wheel of Fortune is a card about change. So yeah, you really want to take this time to understand that sometimes we go through difficult periods of our lives, but our life isn't always going to be bad. Our relationships aren't going to be bad. There's always going to be movement. So yeah, the Wheel of Fortune reminds us that even if today we lose, even if today we are suffering, we're not going to be in this state forever. That's really important to remember, Scorpio. You're a fixed rising, so you could have a tendency to stay in the same type of mentality that you've been in. So take this retrograde period to kind of go within, even though you are very reflective anyway, but take this time to go within and look at where you have been maybe holding on to pain that would be beneficial to let go of after this period of retrograde. So moving on to Sagittarius. So this is going to be important for you, Sagittarius. This is your 7th house of relationships, and Gemini is going retrograde there in Venus. So you are going to be reflecting on your actual relationships and reevaluating them, reevaluating the people that you have chosen to be in a relationship with. This could be close friends, anyone that you are in a close, intimate bond with. It could even be friendships, like close friendships, but essentially it does tend to be romantic people. And you're going to be revisiting old relationships maybe during this period, Sagittarius rising. So what would be a beneficial thing for you right now that you're reviewing your relationships? What would be a useful thing for Sagittarius rising as he or she reevaluates old relationships? Let's see. So you got the 10 of Wands, Sagittarius, for your Venus in retrograde period. So this is, let me read you the quote. It says, "Patience and fortitude conquer all things." Ralph Waldo Emerson. So this is a card about having a heavy burden. So if your relationships have been burdensome for you, this is a time to reevaluate them and see what are the relationships that are kind of giving you something back, Sagittarius. What are the relationships that are paying you back and that aren't just being like a burden on you, that is just making your life more difficult? This is a time to reflect on those things and, if necessary, cut out the relationships that are no longer being beneficial and helping you grow, that are just becoming a burden for you, Sagittarius. So that would be a beneficial thing during this Venus retrograde period in your 7th house. So moving on to Capricorn. Capricorn, Venus retrograde is going to be landing in your 6th house of daily routines and health. So this is a great time to reevaluate your health routines, the way that you're taking care of yourself, the way that you're working, the way that you are waking up every day, and the way that you're doing things, your routines, Capricorn. So you're going to be reevaluating them in order to get the best out of your routines. And Venus being there really puts that focus on your relationship with yourself, essentially, and your relationship with yourself and your body and how you're taking care of it. So what would be a beneficial card for Rising Capricorn during this retrograde period? Let's see. So you got Judgment. The universe is transformation. Our life is what our thoughts make it, by Marcus Aurelius. This is a pretty card. So I really love the Judgment card. The Judgment card, it invites us to listen to our higher self, that inner calling, that gut feeling that you have. So what is it that you are doing right now, Capricorn Rising, that you shouldn't be, or that you aren't doing and you should be doing? You really want to reevaluate your routines and the way that you're taking care of yourself. But there are things that you should be doing that you're not, and you know that. So this is a good time to really take stock of the way that you're taking care of yourself and listen to that, that inner judgy Capricorn voice that is just like, hey, you should be doing this one thing, or hey, you should stop doing this other thing. Listen to that voice that is telling you how to take care of yourself better, Capricorn, so that you are able to do better work, which is ultimately what Capricorn wants to do. I know that you want to last a long time in order to build that legacy that you want to make for yourself. So make sure that you're taking care of yourself and listening to that inner voice that is giving you guidance on how to take care of yourself better, Capricorn. So for Aquarius, this is landing in your 5th house of passions, creative self-expression, and romance. So this could be romantic for for rising Aquarius. So let's see, Aquarius. What would be a beneficial thing to do during this Venus retrograde period? If it is about romantic relationships, this is more about people that you date for fun, Aquarius. This is not like the 7th house serious relationships. This is about like your Tinder matches and the people that you casually date, or the things that you do for fun. That's what the 5th house is about. It's a house of fun. So what could you be reassessing, reevaluating, and what would be a beneficial thing to do during this retrograde period? Again, the 10 of Wands. Okay, 10 of Wands. So this says patience and fortitude conquer all things. This is a card of being overburdened, Aquarius. So what are the things that you're doing that no longer serve you? What are maybe some hobbies that you've undertaken over the years that aren't beneficial for you anymore? Really, right now would be a useful time to reassess those things. Have you maybe taken up too many things that you don't have enough time to dedicate to any of them in order to improve? Or are you maybe seeing so many people that it has become burdensome? Is texting 10 girls every single day, really beneficial for you at this period? Right now is more a time of reflecting and seeing the things that aren't any longer helping you grow, Aquarius. So this is what you should be reevaluating. What are the things that are being burdensome on that 5th house of romantic relationships and creative self-expression? Are you maybe doing too much? Right now is a time to reevaluate that and possibly cut back. And lastly, for Pisces, this is happening in your 4th house. This is your home base, Pisces. This is home, the place that you feel comfortable, or it is also your self-esteem. I always call the 4th house the self-esteem. So really this is reevaluating the way that you take care of yourself and you keep yourself safe, reevaluating the way that you really make a home for yourself and the people that are in your family. How are your relationships with the people in your family, and how close are you to the people in your home, and how are those relationships doing, Pisces? So let's see if we have a useful card for Pisces. That one fell out. You got the Hierophant. So this is a card about tradition. It says rules are not necessarily sacred, principles are, by Franklin D. Roosevelt. So this is a card of tradition, and because this is the 4th house, I want to say that this is a time to reevaluate maybe those family traditions, Pisces. And if right now you don't feel that you're close to your family, right now might be a good time to really put in the work in order to make those relationships stronger. If for whatever reason you're not close to your family, and I don't mean physically, because right now, we are going through this social distancing thing, but if there are things that aren't patched up with your family members and they haven't been totally toxic with you, and you just have had like a distancing or a falling out, right now would be a good time to reassess that and see how you can strengthen those things. The Hierophant is a card of tradition, essentially, and because it's the 4th house, I think this is speaking of traditional family relationships. So that's what I'm getting for you, Pisces, this month. Lean on your family and lean on the people that you consider your family. If you want to take this as like the quote is more like non-traditional, so break with tradition, then the people that you consider your family, make sure that you are evaluating those relationships and really placing the value that they require on them. So appreciating those people that are there for you and you really consider part of your family. So that's the video for today, guys, but I hope that this was enjoyable for you. Remember that if you want an actual reading of your specific chart and what is going on specifically with you, you have to actually get a real reading that takes into account your personal planets and your angles. So these are more general readings and they are for guidance, for general guidance. But if you want something that is more specific and tailored to you, make sure you visit my website, budoastrology.com. Yes, I have a website. I drop articles on there every once in a while. I have a few on there. But if you're interested in a reading, make sure you visit that. If you like this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up. It helps my channel. It helps me know what kind of videos you guys want to see. I really don't see myself doing a whole bunch of these like tarot videos, but every once in a while it could be fun. I really love tarot. I love my tarot decks and I like to, play with them. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.